HealthTech listeners, I'm your host this week, Rebecca Linley, Senior Communications Executive at Radar Healthcare. This is the podcast where we tackle some of the trending topics, ideas and best practice in health and social care. Today we have an exciting episode featuring our new product consultant and training lead at Radar Healthcare, Rob Place. This newly introduced role is key in supporting our partners and ensuring their success with our solutions. Join us as we discuss how this new position and team enhances partner relationships, improves training and implementation processes, and ultimately supports our partners throughout their journey with Radar Healthcare. Welcome back to the podcast, Rob.
Thank you very much.
So firstly, can we start by just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background with Radar Healthcare?
Okay, so yes, I'm Rob Place. I am the product consultant and training lead, and I've been with Radar now for just over 4 years. I joined in 2020 and I joined at the sort of height of lockdown. So I always consider myself very lucky that during that period of time, which was so turbulent, I managed to get a new job, which was astonishing. And it was the first day the trains had restarted, and there was nobody. I got on the train, nobody on the train.
Perfect.
Got to Leeds train station. It's completely empty. It was like 28 days later. I'm walking around these empty concourses. I then walked through an empty Leeds down to our offices to meet Mark, my boss at the time. And then I had 2 hours with him, and that's it. I don't think I saw him again for 6 months in person. So it was a very strange time. And I started as a product specialist.
Yep.
So I worked with our partners, and I delivered training, and I had to get under the skin of our product and work to understand every aspect of it, to support the partners that I was working with. Then as we grew as an organisation, that trinity of responsibilities became their own roles, and I picked up the training because that is my background. I'm a learning and development background, and I'm really passionate about training, and I really enjoy delivering it. I enjoy writing the guidance, and I enjoy doing all those different aspects of it. It's something I'm really passionate about. So I became the trainer, and then I've been on adoption leave. I adopted a little boy and I was away for 6 months. So before that, I developed our online academy, so there was training available 24/7 for everybody whilst I was away, while also other members of the team were helping out with my role and responsibilities. And then when I came back, I carried on, and now I've taken on this new team of product consultants and training.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I think as well, obviously being here 4 years, so much has changed. This background that you've accumulated across the years at Radar Healthcare has equipped you for this new role.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's been a sort of natural progression into this role through all those experiences. So I'm quite fortunate in that I sort of pick up systems, and I sort of learn, and I'm able to then communicate that back. So that sort of led me into these sort of positions and things like that. But by starting out, quite a turbulent time for everybody, there was loads of conversations online, and people were trying to move things forward, and there was immediate problems to fix at that point as we transitioned to this crazy world that we were in, and then we're transitioning out of that crazy world. And so all the time I was learning so much about our customers and about our product, and it's both those things as well. It's one thing knowing Radar Healthcare in and out, but it's really important to understand what that means to our partners, what that means to their colleagues on the front line, to their quality teams, to their reporting teams, to their IT teams, to all those sorts of things. So I was able to soak that all up like a sponge, and that sort of really led into this role with the and I suppose it's an advance on the training. That sort of the way the role has developed and changed, I've noticed organically that the way that training is delivered has changed quite dramatically, over definitely. Just a few years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I started, the training process is completely different to what it is now. Obviously, it has taken that natural enhancement, like you say, and you've obviously been a massive part of that. And I think one good thing about Radar Healthcare is you kind of shape the role that you become, if that makes sense. So we did a previous podcast with Ellie Jordan, and she was obviously been here quite a few years too, and she was saying they really take in mind what the things that you're really good at, the skills that you have, and then the kind of path you want to go on, and really help to create a job almost to fit that.
100%. I mean, I've been on that journey with Ellie. I've been very fortunate. I've worked with Ellie for I think 11 years now. It was through Ellie that I applied for this job and came here, and I can see between both of us how Radar has worked with our strengths and developed us in those areas. Going back to that trinity of sort of product specialists, understanding the product, training and things like that, we sort of went in those areas, and it was very clear, I believe, that my interest, my speciality and my skill set lied in the training side. So that's where Radar gave me the role, but it gave me the role with a blank sheet and was like, okay, over to you. You've got the expertise, you've got the background, you've got the qualifications. What do you think we should do? But most importantly, I'd had years of working with our partners to understand, okay, well, this is what I've learned. These are the challenges they face. These are the turnarounds they need. These are the conversations that need to have. So what I've tried to do is everything's had that in mind. It's always been about making sure our partners can reach their goals with the product. And one size does not fit all, which we all know from our experiences of everything that we do. So that's where I've been really focusing on with the training, and now we'll be focusing on with the consultancy as well.
What does the role of the product consultant team entail, and how does it fit into the broader mission of Radar Healthcare? I think we've touched on this a little bit, but if you want to explain that a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. So the role of it really is to collaborate and assist with our partners and their key contacts within Radar. So we've always had product specialism throughout every role in the customer success team and across Radar. So our support team and our product project managers, with our partnership teams, partnership managers. So the area that's we've sort of highlighted through sort of feedback and speaking to partnerships is that there are times when just having someone whose role it is to understand the product in and out, whose role it is to have an almost objective outside measure, but within Radar. So our project managers will be working with you from day one. Our partnership managers are working from you day one, and they continue working with you. But sometimes what you need is just someone to come in who's actually completely from the outside, who does, may not have known, where things have been and where things are going, and just to go, right, okay, what is it you want to achieve? Right, we know what you want to achieve in the longer term. Right now, how do we achieve that with Radar?
Yeah.
And everyone can do that, but actually the actual journey through it needed that sort of that consultancy approach. And so it's about really enhancing what we do, but with the team that can then carry on with that. So our partnership managers can continue being your partnership managers, but you'll have a product consultant maybe for a short period of time just to, get things over the line, move things forward, maybe upskill, maybe do some reconfiguration based on what you're telling us and what we understand. Hence why it fits so clearly with sort of training, because sometimes consultancy just highlights that there's a training need, or maybe that we need to do some workshops, and maybe that we need to do some interviews and really get under the skin of things. Sometimes consultancy leads to actually, we've identified these areas of maybe redevelopment within your platform from speaking to you. And I really want the team to take that sort of slightly sort of higher approach. It might be that you've identified something in your system where you go, you know what, that's not quite working for us maybe, or it was working 2 years ago, but actually now as a business we moved on. And actually I need someone to come in and provide some clarity, provide some assistance to move us forward. And really that's where I want the consultancy team to come in, because we want to be chatting to you about the high level, the medium level, till we get to that low level of being able to go, right, this is what we're going to do now to enable you to move forward. And I'd noticed that over the last year or so with the training, that as we introduced the academy, which was on-demand training. Suddenly that kind of, well, how do I do X? How do I do Y? Was delivered 24/7. You didn't need to wait until I was available or anything like that. So when I was meeting with our partners, we were going another level. We were kind of going, okay, what else can Radar do for you? Where can we go with this? And that sort of makes sometimes a blank slate. Sometimes it's actually, these are our challenges. How do we meet them? And coming up with holistic solutions and clear deliverables to move you forward with that. And that's something that you will be doing with our project manager and partnership manager, but being able to have someone just come in and own that process from beginning to end, while you've also got that support from your partnership manager, while you've got the project support from your project manager, just having someone else there that owns it all the way through. And as I say, that element of objectivity, coming at it with that kind of going right. And also, I'm going to challenge you on that, because what I'm hearing is this, but what I'm seeing is that. How do we match those two up? And a good example, I think, in the health and social care industry, and something that I think we come up with quite a lot, is that our quality team, the teams that we work with, are expected to deliver massive data sets. They're expected to submit huge amounts of data to different partners or whatever it might be within their sector. But actually, how do you collect that through Radar via your front lines without it massively impacting your front lines? And it's that payoff between, we need to make this as smooth as possible, but we need to be able to get this data. And that's not an easy conversation. That's a difficult conversation. And sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations. We need to discuss it and go, right, well, where's the payoffs? Where's the absolutes? Where's the wiggle room? And I'll help you with that. And we'll discuss it, and we'll try to come up with the best solution for all parties, because I'm going to keep this objective measure, which is you want to make this as easy as possible for your users. And then you need to pull out this enormous data set. So actually, I'm going to challenge you on things, and we're going to have this chat and be like, actually, what can we do to make this work for everybody, to compromise exactly? And everyone in Radar can do that, but just having that person with you on that short journey through to delivery. I sometimes joke as well that we can be get stuff done. Maybe I don't always use that S word, but get stuff done team of just like, actually, I'm going to smash this through for you. I'm going to get it done. We're going to get it delivered. And I think sometimes being slightly separate really helps on that. And just having that extra support. So it's assisting our partners through our partnership managers, through our project managers. We'll be working alongside them with you just to help our partners achieve their goals. And it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to getting hands on. It's already started, and it's just really great.
So I guess it's like a role to essentially achieve those short-term goals, which will then push them further forward to achieving the long-term goals, and also that level of reassurance too on both the customer side and internal side, that those projects are being looked after and that they're going as smoothly and as efficiently as they can.
So our partnership managers will always be working with you on those long-term goals and things like that. But when we identify maybe short-term deliverables, it's about being able to have that additional assistance to be brought in to support and to get it delivered. And it's about ensuring that our teams have that additional collaboration internally and externally, to help see things through and to help things to be delivered. Because it's always a multifaceted approach. It's never just, we need our incident reviewing and that's all. It's usually we need our incident reviewing. Actually, we need some training, or actually we could really do with just help us with it. Like, strip it back. Where's it going? Where's it maybe not be going quite right, or where could we make improvements? And as the consultants are working with different partners and in different sectors, we can bring those experiences and skills in to be saying, well, actually, here we did this and here we did that. And I think that's really valuable as well, of being able to have that conversation and to be able to say, well, actually, I know we attempted this at an organisation and it really worked. How about we give it a try or pilot it or something like that, and I'll see that through with you.
Yeah. So I guess as well, you'll be working very closely then with the partnership managers, project managers, support specialists, the whole The whole lot.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, I mean, it obviously is a huge benefit because we've gone from a 3-pronged approach to a 4-pronged approach. So I guess my next question is then, what's the feedback been like from customers so far? I know obviously this is a very fresh role, but I know that a lot of the product consultants have kind of dived in head first and started cracking with projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, so far the feedback's been really positive. It is still early days, so we're still ironing out and we're still there. But that the feedback internally has been that it's been really useful to say, okay, maybe there's like lots of little bits happening and and actually I want someone to come and own that for now. Another piece that we're finding is maybe after projects and what we might call in life with Radar, you don't stop as an organization as a one of our partners. You grow and evolve and things change, and sometimes, like I say, what might have worked 2 years ago might not necessarily work now. And you'll be working with our partnership managers, and when that gets identified, it's giving our partnership managers someone to be able to say, right, can you assist me with this? And we can come in and scope that out for you. And that started already. And I'm working with an organisation in Leeds at the moment where that's what happened. Things have moved on. Things need to change. I've gone in and we had a day where we just discussed Radar. We went through what we call the wireframes of all those different aspects of Radar, and we were able to say, okay, well, this module, how would that apply to your organization, or what challenges are you facing? And then coming up with plans to put in place. And now we're looking at redeveloping certain aspects of the system to meet their current status and how they're currently working as an organization. And I'm going to see that through from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Almost, I suppose, like a mini project, as an onboarding one. And I'll work my way through. And I'm able to then work with the client, work methodically, and we're having really great conversations. And I'm really confident we can get this turned around for them. And feedback has been really positive. They're feeling like there's someone with them on the journey. They feel like they can go to someone with questions. Doesn't matter what the questions are. Doesn't matter. There's no judgment. And I can point in the right direction and really assist. We've got next meetings booked in, and we're really moving forward to get this done. And I think sometimes just having that assurance and assistance on that journey can mean that you can breathe out a little bit. And go, okay, you know what? We're going to get this done. We can reassure our client, reassure our users, our colleagues that we're getting this done.
But also so they can reassure their own team as well.
Yeah, and above as well, they can reassure the board that we are actively working on it. And the partnership relationship continues.
Yeah.
And that continues alongside. Without it consuming that. I can work on it as my project, as a consultant. We've done training, I'm answering questions and queries. We are doing some configuration and reconfiguring the system to meet their needs. When we've met challenges, we've been able to have really meaningful conversations. And one of my favorite things we did, we just got their configuration of their incidents up on a big screen, and we just sort of ripped it apart. And I quite, like, well, why is that? And actually, in reality, what would that look like? Yeah. And within a few hours, we'd come up with a solution that really worked. And that was really good. And then I'm going to go and then deliver on that. Yeah. We'll do some testing. And then we'll get that launched. So I think. Yeah, it's really exciting, but and I'm really excited to hear the feedback. Yeah. So at the moment, the feedback's been really good, but we will be asking for sort of formal feedback and things. And I know a goal for me as the team lead and for my team is seeing those testimonials, seeing people giving us not just like it was good, but that impact of what it would have. So that's something we really want to work with our partners on. And we're working very closely with your team, Becca, as well.
Exactly. It's that feedback piece, isn't it? Like, this is a completely new role. We've never had this position before, never had this team before. So like we were saying at the start, we're really open to adapting and kind of making sure that this role really fits the needs of our customers. So
yeah. I mean, feedback is everything, isn't it?
And likely the role itself will naturally change with the needs of the customers anyway, because like you mentioned earlier, this industry in particular is constantly changing. There's new frameworks, regulations. So like you said, things that worked for them then might not necessarily work for them in 6 months, a year time. So they have to be agile, and likewise we do too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really hoping that this team allows that agility to be brought in. So we are a team, and people request our services and we are brought in. So we will be learning from different organizations within the sectors, and we will be learning from different experiences. And part of that consultant piece is that adaptability of being able to work with different audiences and understand their needs, which is something that came through training quite a lot. One size does not fit all. And we know the same, and that's why Radar is so flexible, because we know one size does not fit for all organizations.
Yeah, and I think the team itself is perfect for that. I can't think of one person that doesn't fit that criteria. I
was gushing a bit then. My team are great. I am incredibly fortunate with the team that I
the dream team.
They are the dream team. Everyone is very jealous of the team. They are fantastic, and they've really sort of jumped in with 2 feet and are just we're learning and we're evolving, and we're already picking up projects. And I'm talking literally been weeks maybe that we formally launched the team internally. I'm a very fortunate person, very fortunate manager, because they are just brilliant.
Definitely. And that leads me really nicely then to the next question, which we have kind of touched on a little bit, is how do you tailor your approach to meet the unique needs of our different partners and make the most of our solutions?
If I was to boil it down to something simplistic, it's just having a good chat. That is consultancy, isn't it? Just like chatting away. But I think part of that is learning to understand the culture that we're working with. The individuals that we're working with, the culture, and the audience that we're working towards. So I think I've mentioned about like how to marry requirements versus the people, the front end. The front end users, the people that will be interacting with Radar on a day-to-day basis. It's the same with training. Whenever you go into training, you need to understand your audience, because first of all, what do they want to get out of it? What is expected of them afterwards? What is the language that you use as an organization? What is the cultural processes that you have? Am I going to just frighten them by talking about tech speak? So I used the word single sign-on once in a training session, and I could just physically see everyone looking at me like, what?
I think that's a good point, isn't it? Like, because we use this language every day, we automatically assume that everyone else knows what we're talking about. However, the chances are that that's a load of jargon to most people, because they've never used the system before, and they're not using tech constantly. So,
it's meaningless, isn't it? Outside of tech, I mean, we all use it. I mean, people sign up to things using their Facebook account or their Google account, and then they sign in using it.
Face ID and all that kind of stuff.
We don't recognise that as a single sign-on thing. But also, I mean, it's the same in reverse as well. So coming into this, I previously worked within the sort of safeguarding and social care sector in my previous role, and then moving into this one is more sort of healthcare based. There was crossover in terminology. So I was very familiar with term dolls, for example, if you use social care term dolls. Yeah, I know dolls. So I was using it freely with a customer, and somebody was shadowing me who just joined Radar, and they were just like, they thought we were talking about a doll. And they were just so confused, because we were both just like, dolls are the challenges that everyone's facing with that. And then when I started working with clients as partners that were more in the healthcare sector delivering clinical services, the phrasing terminology was being used, and I was going, I don't know.
Well, there's so many acronyms.
So many acronyms, and again, we just use them freely because we assume everyone knows it. And I was so I had to upskill quite highly, and still now I have to go. Just going to Google that on my other screen just to see, because I feel like I should know what that is. And so that's really important for when delivering training, is that they'll know the terms within their sector and the terms within their working life, but they don't understand necessarily the technical terms. So the way I've to get around that, what I always ask is, can someone be there from the team that are rolling out Radar? Just because you don't need to deliver the training, I'm delivering the training, but there will always be questions where people just don't understand, maybe don't understand what I'm saying, or I'm not using the language that they use internally. And I just need you on hand to be able to pick that up and go, it's the username and password you use for your laptops.
Yeah.
Guys, just put that in and that'll log you in. Don't need the term single sign-on. You can, great, okay. Didn't know, but that's brilliant. That's the language you use. So I think the same with the consultancy. It's about understanding you as an organization. It's about understanding the sector that you're in. It's about understanding your needs and requirements. And it's about understanding the audience that you're delivering to, so that we can always come back to that with the work that we're doing and make sure, okay, we've come up with these great solutions, but do they meet your audience's needs? Do they meet your organization's needs, your sector needs, and things like that? So we've always got that frame of reference. So we will be doing a lot of scoping first. And by scoping, I mean having a good chat with you first to really try and understand exactly what it is that we're trying to do, the audience that we're doing, so we can tailor our approach accordingly.
So I guess on that then, how have you evolved your training strategies to focus on accessibility and obviously users' needs?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things I did when moving into the role as a full training role, was to look at accessibility. And we actually, if you ever go on our community website, you think that I've written every single user guide, and we have hundreds of user guides. I remember once someone telling me, they were like, wow, it's taken you years. I can't take credit for all of that at all, but we redeveloped it.
Yeah.
And one of those principles of redeveloping it was to bring just to that focus on those accessibility standards and accessibility things. So, little things like making sure every image has a caption, making sure we're using plain English, making sure that we structure things in a really easy to read way, making sure that we don't use images or don't use different coloured text that will cause an issue with colour reading, making sure we... I now have a screen reader, which I don't know how to turn off when I turn my computer on. So every morning it reads to me as I go in. So I have to... but I always check that with user guides and things like that. Yeah. We did all sorts of different things like that. And then that went into when we developed the online academy. So our online training was, again, that real mindfulness of all those sorts of things, making sure that all our videos had captions and subtitles and things like that. So we really have worked really hard on all of that and made sure that that's fed for everything that we do. Yeah. And then thinking about our audience. And I mean, I've probably said this before, and I always say this, but I always challenge people to say, would your mum understand this? And I don't mean that as offensively as against mums out there, but my mum is incredible. She's a dental nurse. She's an orthodontic dental nurse, and she worked in the sector. She didn't do any of that because she liked tech or computers. Yeah. She did that because she was really passionate about dentistry.
Well, exactly,
and loved it. So, but whenever they brought a new system in, she'd be like, this is not something. So
almost like another challenge,
another thing in the way, another thing to do. So I always think, well, if I can get, think of that in your mind, think of somebody who doesn't work in tech and how you describe that. So when you bring that into our on-demand stuff, and it adds a level of challenge because you're not there talking, but it is really useful when you reread and recheck, and actually I can take this out, I can simplify it, or I can add explanations in here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep it really plain and simple. You know what, I'm going to add an FAQ section at the bottom of all our user guides, which you'll see now, where it's like, actually these questions do come up, so I'm going to put them in. I'm going to put them at the bottom so it's really easy to see. I'm going to add content at the top so you can jump straight to it. I might add an extra article that just dives into a bit more detail for those, because I know that that's the questions that we get. We'll put best practice guidance in there as well from things that we've learned over time. We introduced our forum, so there's an extra level of being able to just ask questions and get feedback. We've all started using a video tool so we can record short form videos ourselves and just fire them to people. Feedback's been really positive on that. So if I'm trying to describe something and it's going to take me more than a few sentences, or it's going to take me a lot of screenshots, and it's just I will record a video instead and I'll attach that, because that gives you an immediate insight and immediate personality as well. So we've done a lot of things around that. With the academy was designed to provide 24/7 training access, really. What was very clear was a lot of training is about the how. How do I do X? How do I do Y? Then the next level of training is, okay, but what does that mean to us? And
putting it in practice.
And if by putting it online 24/7, it meant anyone can upskill on Radar really quickly at a time that suits them, because we all know how busy everybody is. So a 9 to 5 is not always the easiest time to get that training in. So you can do that whenever you want. You can also have copies of that training for your own LMS to train your staff, because again, you've got to roll out, to train 1,000 people on how to use a new online system, and it's relatively straightforward, but you want to be able to provide additional assistance at any point where you can have that fully available.
But also as well, like, just to have it in the background. If you're like, oh, how do I upload an incident again? I've got it there. It's not like you're relying on someone to be like, oh, Rob, how do I do this? You've almost got that system ready to go. Just go through the little course again, and then that's how I did it.
Absolutely. I mean, that is, everyone's different. Everyone has different learning styles. But for me, I'm kind of an in the moment kind of person, but I like to work through things in a sequence. So I find training and e-learning really helpful, because I'll go back to that course, I'll go to that point in the course, and I can work my way through it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's like a story. That's the point I got to.
It's also reassurance as well, isn't it? You might know it, 90%, but because obviously in healthcare there's quite a lot of complications and stuff like that, you want to make sure you're submitting something right.
Yes.
So it's 100%. Having that in the background, working on it at the same time almost.
Yeah.
So then you know that you're doing it right.
Absolutely. And then for other people, it's more like, I just want a quick guidance. We've got our community. Or some people, I want to ask a question. Again, we've got our community, or you can get in touch with us. For some people, it might be then the extra level. So as I said, what I found was, particularly, we got all that set up, and then I went on leave for a while as I became a dad. And then when I came back, actually, a lot of feedback was really positive about the academy. People were, it really suited some people's learning styles, and they were really getting on, and people finding it really helpful. The conversation had changed, training conversation had changed to be, okay, we get it, but I really want to explore what this means for us, or I really want to explore new avenues, or I didn't know it could do that. Level. Where do we go from here? And I think that's really where this consultancy piece comes in, because that training piece had morphed a little bit into a conversation, into scoping out exactly what is it you need and the support you need to do it, and we'll get you there. So tailoring and making sure everything's accessible and easy to get in hold of is really important. And we know we've got work we can increase on there. So the great thing about having all these things is that they're all available 24/7. The downside to all these things is you've got a lot of websites. So we are really aware of that. And this is complete transparency. We know we've got an online academy of all our training. We know we've got a community. We know we've got a support desk. We know we've got websites. So we know that there's a lot of websites at the moment. And that's something we will be looking at going forward is, okay, at the moment we've got all these things, which is great, and it really meets people's needs. How do we make them more accessible by bringing it all in? And it probably goes back to single sign-on, doesn't it?
Nice natural loop that we've just done there. And I think as well, like the academy, for example, it has kind of started to do that, hasn't it? Like I know that my version of the academy has like the community links and things like that. So there is.
We've tried where we can, in where we currently are. So we put in links to each other, so they link out throughout the e-learning. Rather than the e-learning telling you every single aspect of something and minutiae detail, actually, if there's something that goes into more detail on the community, we'll link out to it, because it's like further reading, essentially. I think we actually call it that. And it's like, for further reading, we link out to the community. So it is an ecosystem, and it's really important they all sort of speak to each other and they all interlink. And we'll be continuing with that, because they all support each other and they'll have their own own specific purposes.
Yeah, and I think it's really important as well just to mention that all of these different areas, this support ecosystem that we've kind of created has come off the back of feedback from customers. Obviously, like the customer facing teams right down to marketing and all the other teams work really closely with our partners and are constantly evolving based on what the kind of things that they're asking for. So like the academy, the community, this role, etc., have all kind of been born from customers essentially and working together with them.
We always have feedback where around the sense of a community or a forum where people can chat and discuss, not just with us but with other partners of Radar. So that was a real passion project for us, for our product team, to get the community in a really lively sense and a really lively community. Because I remember this anecdote a few years ago talking to one of our partners, and they just went, "It's very quiet as your community." This was before we moved. They're like, "Yeah, I like to call this other clients community because they just go to town every Friday." And I was like, right, okay, well. So, and it's all that sort of feedback. So the new community, the reason we moved to a new version of it was because it allowed us more flexibility and it allowed us to have more active forums and things like that. And I know with our analytics builder, so we have this analytics builder, we've got a really thriving community.
Yeah.
And we are using it with online training sessions that we run every 2 weeks. And they totally interlink with each other. We take the forum ideas and we show them on the training session, the webinar, and then we'll feed. I edit all those videos up to put them back on the community, so anyone else in the future can just quickly watch that 5-minute video and learn new things. And it's really exciting. And then we've sort of expanded what we can do with that community, and we'll keep on expanding. Yeah,
and I guess it's like we have kind of built out that tech online resource world, and then this role, the consultancy piece, and I guess just the wider partnership team as well that's expanded recently, is almost like the human element coming back into it. So like you guys going out and speaking to them face to face, having those conversations, as well as having this like whole wealth of resources in the background that they can use whenever they want.
And it's about choice in what you do. We're not saying, it's not moving away from that human, interaction at all. If anything, we really want to harness that and make the most out of it. It's about giving people the choice. So, let's be honest, the academy might not work for everybody. Yeah. The feedback we get is really positive, actually, and it's really well received. But some people just say, I prefer it face-to-face, or I prefer this and the other. And it's about having that option. Personally, I like to just, I'm so excited about a new product. I just want to learn all about it right now. So I will smash through the whatever academy and get up to speed so I can get up and running. And for some other people, they want to have that chat and discussion. Some people, for most, it's a blend.
Yeah.
I will learn the basics on this, and then I will chat and learn more and evolve. And it's about having both those things. And I think I have to think of it like a sort of house. You've got your foundations in place, and we're now building on those foundations. And the consultancy team is now that we're having a redesign and a redevelopment, and it's going to be even better. It's about having all those different aspects.
So what role do you see technology playing in the future of training and consultancy for health and social care professionals?
I think in the short to medium term, it will continue to support people in the moment with the immediate questions. How do I do X? How do I do Y? Where do I find this? And we know in the development of AI and machine learning that not only will it be able to support you with that, you'll be able to understand the context of your organization. And because, without AI, those kind of language processing are a bit challenging. So we've been experimenting over the years with various things, and we have in-system support, and there's a little, we were going to call it Randall the radar robot. Yes. And we were going to have it in Radar, and you'd be able to ask it questions. But as we were looking at the kind of questions we were getting through our community and things like that, what we discovered was language differs vastly. And an example that we had was, someone said, a question we had was, how do I report a death? So that's a fact of life within our sector, and often they are reported through radar, so you've got that tracked and detailed. But in the system, that would be called an event or an incident or something like that. But so if you typed that into the process, language process that we developed, you might not have got the response, even though it was quite a straightforward question for the system. So I think the future really is with that AI element of being able to learn, okay, well, a death could mean this within this sector. And as all the different sectors we do and all the different terminology they have, been able to learn what that means within radar to be able to then provide that. As human beings at the end of the phone, we know exactly what you're talking about and we can help. So I think, for me, that's where it can really help in terms of that training and support, because it provides that sort of immediacy. And then it provides breathing space for us to provide that human consultancy and human support and human assistance to look at the broader picture, the bigger picture, the more integrated pieces of work that we need to look at, and how we get you from A to B in the most appropriate way, in the way that works best for you. So that's for me where I'm seeing it, and I've seen all sorts of demos and all sorts of things. So it is really exciting to see what we can do, and we're looking at our next steps really.
I think that step in particular would tie really nicely in with the how-to guides too, because taking your example, for instance, that could then pop up with either a how-to guide or a Loom video that you've made for another customer or something like that, to just kind of walk them through it really simply. And I think those very simple questions as well don't necessarily need someone else on the end. So obviously, depending on who it is, don't necessarily need someone on the end of a phone call or on the end of a Teams call to kind of walk it through with them. They just want an instant, quick answer, because the chances are they're probably dealing with that incident there and then. They want to kind of get it into the system, log it as fast as they can, so they can move on to the next thing. Because as we've said, like, healthcare and care professionals are extremely busy people.
Yes, and it's going towards, if you think about andragogy principles of like adult learning and things like that, a lot of it is in the moment. We just want the answer now. We don't want to go to a classroom and learn about it. We just want to know. Also, people are super
impatient. I'm one of them.
Well, we're busy people. And you just want to know the answer to the problem that you've got right there and then. And you're right. If chatting to AI gives you that answer, and we already got an in-system guidance that we're really proud of, where they're called walkthroughs, and it doesn't just give you a user guide or a video, it points you and literally tells you where to go. And the power of that is huge, because sometimes you don't even want to watch a video, like I want it to do it now. And actually it already does that. It's that search, it's that natural language processing of being able to understand what you're saying, process it within context and give support. What we're able to do right now is preempt it, and we have these pop-ups and we have these need help buttons. You click on them and you can click on, well, how do I report an event, and it shows you it. But if you're looking for how do I report a death, that's that's contextual within your organization, but it would do the same thing. It would literally walk you through the whole process.
I think as well it comes back to that we're in such a tech, the whole world now, it revolves so much around tech, and the tech that we use on a daily basis is so advanced that we're not even realizing how advanced it is. A bit like the single sign-on, going back to the single sign-on thing. We can use that day in, day out, but you might not necessarily know that is single sign-on. It's like AI. You probably use it every day.
Yes.
But you don't realize that you're using it. And it's almost like that. We're so used to that instant answers, that quick, that do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And I think obviously we kind of have to keep up with that and make sure that customers also receive that.
Yeah. And we're doing that as an organisation, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're taking those huge leaps forward of doing, the Internet of Things work that our product team are doing. We can have fridges alert radar and tell you that it's gone beyond a certain temperature or something like that. So we're already at the forefront of all of those things and pushing forward. So it's about looking at that sort of that learning space and that consultancy space of where tech's going there and where can we utilize it. And we're going there with our analytics, with the natural language processing and all of those sorts of things. That there's so much going on. But it's absolutely around us. And quite a lot of partners I've talked to is the first thing they say when they're launching Radar in an organization is, and people go, oh, it's a new product, it's a new thing, a new tech thing. And they go, okay, well, where did you last shop? And it'll be Amazon or Shein or something like that. You're like, so you're already shopping online.
Yeah.
And who taught you how to shop online? Oh, like, I just can. You're like, okay. So this is the same thing. Yes, it's new to us as an organization, but you've been, creating incident paperwork for ages now. This is the digitized way of doing that.
Yeah.
And actually, it's going to remove loads of maybe the challenges that you have around the paper-based process or other processes. And so I always like to know those benefits going into a training session to be able to say, okay, well, I understand these are the challenges you're facing, and they're actually what as an organization, we've worked with you to be able to overcome those, and this is how it's going to do it. Because actually, it's not always the tech that's a challenge; it's the new ways of working. It's the unknown. And I'm slightly frightened of this, and it's about coming to that. But I thought it was a really good one from one of our partners, which was like, you actually said, we're so used to it, we don't even know it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably the generation of being introduced to Google. It was written, I remember walking into a board and we had altavista.com and we had google.com, and when we all stood there and went, what is that? Google? Didn't know what it was. Google was like the second. Everyone was using Alta Vista or Ask Jeeves because that's the one advertised on telly. I'm possibly the last generation of that being kind of an alien thing. Yeah. But now we all do it, and I don't question it, and I don't remember moving towards Googling everything, Googling being a verb. Yeah. That's something that just sort of seemed to happen. And we have a bit of an anecdote from another partner where they couldn't log into, this one home could not log into Radar. And we couldn't work out why. And they were quite close to an airport, and they think, do you think we're being jammed? I'm like, because of the word radar. And I was like, I don't think that's how it would happen. I don't think they would ban the word radar. We were trying to come up with all these ideas, like what could it be? So you were starting to think, well, there must be something. And what happened is people were Googling radar and then trying to log into something, and it wasn't letting them log in. And it's because that had become the ubiquitous way of normal. Yeah, the way that we do things is that we don't go to a website anymore. We don't type in www.da-da-da.com. We just Google it immediately. And if Google's algorithms and AI aren't certainly aligned to that, it wouldn't let, and it wasn't that we couldn't log in, it's that they were on the completely wrong website. Yeah. So I think that that comes back to what you're saying, is like, it's so ubiquitous, it's always there. Sometimes we forget to question it, or we forget that we've transitioned. And I think we'll have that with AI. I mean, there's some really exciting things, like learning what AI can do in the health tech for supporting clinicians is incredibly exciting. And I think we are sort of hearing the negative quite a lot. And I know it is important to have both sides of that argument, but there's
heaps of positives.
There's so much positives as well that it's exciting.
Before we finish then, looking ahead, what are your goals for this role, and how do you see it evolving to further support your partners?
So my goal is that our partners achieve their goals using Radar, and we are a part of that journey. And a personal goal of mine is that using our feedback listening and everything, that we have testimonials and feedback of how useful our consultancy team is and how we've helped organizations achieve their goals, and working with you guys on those case studies and testimonials and things like that. I really am excited to see that go through. So that's a personal goal for me, but the main goal really is to ensure our partners achieve what they need through Radar, and that in itself is just brilliant. And I see it growing and evolving as our customers grow and evolve, and as we as an organisation continue to grow and evolve. So I am really excited to see what it's like in a year's time and how things have moved on. But so far I'm just really enjoying the journey.
Yeah. Oh, so nice.
Ollie. Like my X Factor moment.
So at the end of every podcast, we ask everyone to describe what the health tech moment. So this question's a bit of fun. You've obviously done this before, so we'd like to hear yours.
Fab. I've been thinking about this. I think this is the question we all think about the most, isn't it?
Everyone dreads.
But no, I think my moment, it comes back to AI. So you can tell I've been living in the world of AI for a little bit, and I've been experimenting with things. And it's going back to that point of language that we use that is the norm within certain sectors.
Yeah.
And I think I occasionally got into the point where I just don't question it. I just go, oh yeah, that's what that is. And we've been doing a lot of work on our risk register, which I know Ellie was on here about, and it's been really exciting. And I was putting together all the new guidance and e-learning, and I was putting it all together and delivering some training on it. And I kept coming across the odd terminology, and I've never questioned it. I just gone, well, that's what that is. I thought, no, I need to be more confident exactly what that is. So I started asking some questions and started web searching and coming coming back with documents and guidance that, again, just assumed the reader understood or explained it in a way that was like, yeah, you understood. I've got a background in risk management, therefore I understand this term exactly. So I went to an AI, popular AI, and I said, imagine I'm a 12-year-old. Please describe this term to me within a risk register context, within a health and social care organisation. So quite a few caveats.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It came back and it broke it down as if I was a 12-year-old going to school and what this would mean within that context. And it just really helped visualise it for me and put it into simpler terms. And I thought that was incredibly helpful. So that's my what for the health tech moment is sometimes you have to admit when you don't understand something, and sometimes other people just assume a way that you do understand that. So actually, you know what? Maybe AI can just help me by doing a very simplistic take on it for me. And that really helped put it into context. So sometimes you just got to have a bit of fun and you've just got to go, you know what? Tell me as a child.
I think as well it goes back to what we've just been saying, hasn't it? How like you really do need to immerse yourself in this tech because it can support you in so many different ways. Like, for example, that example, you would never have thought maybe 6 months ago that that's how you would get an answer from something. No. Like putting it into ChatGPT or whichever AI system you were using to kind of produce this simple answer for you. It is kind of amazing how quickly tech evolves and how much it can support in every single job role.
Yes, it is astonishing, and it is, and I can see why people are frightened of it and feel a bit maybe overwhelmed by it. But it's also really exciting to see, you know, how it can support you. And I know the reason I did that was because I'm producing some plays in October as my hobby is amateur theatre, and we had some. I'd been chatting to someone about it, and they're at schools. One of their friends had been caught having written an essay on
I can see how that happened quite a lot.
And they'd done it by saying, write me a book report or whatever it might be on this, as if I was 11. Yeah. And that's what had been produced. And you kind of go, oh, that's scary, but also rather brilliant that it's able to really take that context and be able to do that for you. So that's when I started experimenting with it. But also there is also limits to it. It's all about what you put in and what you get out. Yeah. And you really need to bear that in mind as you go through. I think that's the case with all tech though, isn't it? We're always saying it at Radar Healthcare, like this system is not just a filing cabinet, it's a learning system. Yes. What you put in will help you get better outcomes. Yes. And looking at those outcomes, and and they might be there. Look at, what we're going to do with them. And, and hopefully my team will support that because we're looking at that data to look back and be like, right, okay, so what do we need to do? So your outputs are just drive your inputs as well. It's not just about your data sets. It's about, what are we doing as an organisation?
Yeah,
can we improve?
One thing that, sorry, I'm going off on tangent a little bit here, is one thing that I always think about, and we've spoken about it on another podcast, is how data is everywhere, but it's about data intelligence. Yeah. We collect data constantly. We're drowning in data. What are you doing with it? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And it's about, and then being able to make meaningful decisions off the back of it. And when you look, I always look at Netflix. Netflix was so clever with their data and then with their algorithms and things like that when you go on Netflix, you see different things based on your behavior, but not only your behavior, apparently you see different images for different movies, because if you look at mine's very face driven. It's always people's faces. Wow, I didn't know that. That's
because
really
I'm more drawn to people's faces. So I will click on something based on that.
Yeah.
Whereas you might find somebody else that's more action driven. So it'll be showing you explosions, like be showing you cars or vehicles, because that's what drives you. And it could be the same program. And it's because they've been able to take all that data and they've actually, used it in a meaningful way. And I think that's the same for all of us. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it is really important because it can drive so much change. And the same with, we look at Netflix now compared to where they were, and you think, wow. And it's the same with everyone. If we can just harness that data set that you have to really pull that outcome, but it's all about looking at it and interpreting it, and then where we go forward with it. So that's why I'm really excited about some of the dashboards that we've been working with, and then our product team are working on, whether we're constantly releasing new dashboards and things like that to be able to drive those things forward. And our feedback dashboards in particular, being able to sort of try and synthesize and take all that data and show you in a meaningful way can hopefully really drive change within your organization, and about opening that up as well so that everyone has access, or key people can see that, and then again that ability to open that reporting up. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. And just on that as well, the two that come to mind that I've found that have kind of been released recently and are really impressive, obviously the CQC dashboards, and I really like the oversight dashboard as well. I think that really is a really nice piece that would work really nicely for all organisations too, just to give you that quick oversight.
Yeah, and people who have shown it to are really excited about that dashboard, that ability to sort of see everything in one place and to really focus on what you need to focus on right now, and then deep dive into other dashboards and other data sets that then give you more context and more background, and then finally into the big data sets if you want to see those. So it's that sort of at a glance is so helpful, particularly as we're all so busy. I just want to be able to go in and just tell me what's going on. There we go.
That click of a button thing that we were talking about earlier as well.
Yes, yeah.
Instant.
Fewer clicks as possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Rob, and thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you.
And thank you for all of you at home listening. Join us next time for another new episode. And don't forget to rate and subscribe. And if you have any questions for our guests, please email at whatthehealthtech@radarhealthcare.com.